Before we start, we need to tell you up front we are not a licensed financial planning, accounting or law firm. This is simply an education program which will give you factual information. We do not give any general or specific advice around finance, business, investing, options trading or anything else. That is not what this presentation does. Please see a licensed financial planner when it comes to any investment advice you need.
Malloy with you, and we are doing the Greater Wealth thing here. We have the amazing Derek Whittaker over there, mate. Good to see you all the way over there. You normally sit beside me.
I know we mixed it up today, you know what I mean?
You crazy kid.
You know why?
Why?
You weren't here last week. I'm feeling, maybe it was my BO or something like that.
No, I clarified to everybody, he showers regularly. We've been to his house. No, hang on. And normally would this be the occasion where I pull the Mickey out of you. But, mate, you're on camera. You're doing it for everyone. Yeah, on your own. So, yes, it is Travis Carter, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the show.
Yay. Welcome, Travis.
Can you feel the enthusiasm?
Hi.
Now, Travis, I've turned your mic on this time, okay? Special occasion for you. Normally I wait.
I can see the red light on the mute.
No, it's not you.
That's the other mic.
Hey, we're here to talk about all sorts of things about the Greater Wealth. Now, Derek, we started talking off camera a little bit, but we've got a few bloody good subjects to talk about today.
It's a bit of a mixed bag.
It is. Right now it's the Whitman sampler of financial advice.
Did you say the Whitlam sampler?
Well, it's not financial advice.
No, I see. Thank you.
I just want to say that outright.
Sorry.
It's factual information.
Okay.
We cannot give you general specific
look, I shouldn't give you any advice, particularly
please see a licensed financial
advice.
planner.
No. Okay. Go see a financial planner. Yeah, exactly. Please stop that. Okay.
So a friend printed this shirt. So
it's
for
a great
the people
shirt.
who are watching online, the Edge Radio Australia Facebook page, YouTube channels. Have you actually changed the name on your YouTube channel yet?
Yeah, we've been waiting ages. It hasn't had the change of life just yet. But
anyway, so they can see this awesome For Your Health shirt, thanks to Reese.
It is nice. Very cool.
It's a business idea right there.
Reese is running it. It sold like hotcakes. It was actually, I gave it to quite a few people as a Christmas gift.
Oh, did you? And just actually, side note on that, for those who are interested, we will get to you, mate. I promise. I know the show is about you, but guess what? We've got some Edge merchandise coming our way really shortly. So we'll have T-shirts and shirts and goodies and all sorts of stuff. So you can walk around and
just waiting for the shirts to get delivered, and then we'll get them printed up, and they'll be looking snazzy.
Snazzy indeed. So, look, you can walk around as a walking, talking advertisement for us, and we really appreciate that.
And we won't pay you a cent for it.
No.
You can pay us for the privilege of having our shirt.
That's right.
I just like how you're upfront about that.
It's
good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Honestly,
transparency.
This is what this station's about.
Is being authenticity.
It's
truthful, transparent, pissing people off, and being on the edge of everything.
And that's what the market's wanting, is that transparency and authenticity.
Because we're sick of fake. We are so sick of Look, the reality is buy a T-shirt, keeps the lights on. Simple as that. Okay, that's really what it comes down to.
It's funny you should say that, because one of our topics we're covering today is the Australia Post Bank, and that was actually brought to us by one of our Patreons. So
later, very cool.
Later shows we'll put the Patreon link on. I've got to change it out of my name into the Edge Radio.
If you could hurry with these things.
Effort. That's effort. I've got to log in, change the names, whatever.
It's hard.
So, Australian Post Banking System.
Right. That sounds like a single
weird,
shooter in the US, but okay.
Yeah, actually, it does.
Disgruntled postal worker. I like it. All right, fine.
There's a political party in Australia called the Citizens Party. Obviously, they're pissed off with the banking sector, the Royal Commission.
Pissed off, is that a technical term? Or?
Oh, they're livid. A lot of people are actually really angry over it. They want to see a better system. So they've actually drafted a bill. They don't have a member of parliament yet, so I don't know how they're going to get the bill actually into parliament. So they'll have to do it as a citizens referendum, which we don't actually have in Australia yet. What it is, they want to turn the Australia Post into a bank.
Right. Well, it's pretty much there anyway.
Well, it's an add-on, isn't it? It's not getting rid of the postal system completely.
So the postal system will still be there, but Australia Post will be a bank. So what happens is anywhere there's an Australian Post, you can go in, you can deposit your money in, you can take money out. It literally is a bank branch.
Okay.
Their reasoning behind it is, especially in regional areas, to maximize profits, because you don't have a lot of customers coming in and out. A lot of the major banks, so ANZ, NAB, Westpac,
Yep.
and whatever the other one is.
Commonwealth.
Thank you. They're shutting all the regional branches down so that they can maximize their profits for the shareholders.
Okay, I would go as far as to say I don't think they'll be for that because they want everybody to be online. I think that they want, exactly. Say goodbye to cash.
So I can understand why people would like this because people still want to use cash.
Yeah.
And the other thing is a lot of people don't realize this. Have you noticed how it's really hard to find an ATM in a wall these days? Because all the ATMs are being taken out.
That's right. Yep.
There's a massive push by the majors, big four banks I'm talking about here, not to have cash in society because you got to remember for every is it about 10 to 1 on the cash to actual what's on your books. So for example, China, there's a lot of publicity about that one. So in a bank, they only have to have 11 point something% of cash in hand. So if they've got $1 billion worth of deposits from like customers, they only have to have about 10% of that in actual physical cash.
Gotcha.
So that they can pretend that they've got as much money as they want. They can just lend it out using the cash as collateral. So the proposal that was put forward by the Citizens Party is saying that instead of being 11%, which is on other shows we've spoken about how unstable the Chinese market is at the moment, especially the banking sector, because they're so heavily leveraged, they actually want to go lower than that down to 10%.
Okay.
So straight away I'm thinking,
look, I'm already terrified. Like, 'cause I mean, I would have naturally assumed it was a much, much higher number. You know, it's in my mind, I would think that maybe I'm just dreaming. Clearly I am. You know, I would think that you went into a bank and they'd have 50% of the holdings in there, right?
I don't think anyone actually knows.
No one knows. It's a big dark
secret. Do you know how much money a bank has to hold on hand?
Not offhand.
Yeah. So that's the first thing that jumped out at me. The other one is they wanted it to be controlled by the government.
That always works, right?
It's another state-owned bank. So like the old R&I. So
no, R&I was no.
I remember having one of those the alien accounts with the little weird creatures as a kid. And
no, that was Commonwealth, man.
Commonwealth
was the Commonwealth Bank.
But there you go. Well, the R&I wasn't R&I just like
rural and industrial. So that was
Is that what it stood for?
Yeah, rural and industrials bank.
I had no idea as a kid. It was just R&I, and you go drive into Perth, and there's a big R&I building, and that's R&I.
Yeah, and it used to say Bond on that building for those who can remember.
Oh, that shows how old you are.
Memory.
Oh man,
it's really funny because like I just turned 39 literally last week, and like I'm thinking, I'm old. I've got greys in my beard, and then I was like,
thanks, mate. Yeah,
2 half centuries.
So the Rural and Industries Bank, which you want to refer to, Travis, right? I remember going in there as a child because they were bought out. They changed their name to Bankwest and CBA bought them out. Okay, so your questions on this model. Do you like the idea?
No, personally, no. I am a firm believer that there's too many assholes in the world. There's too many, and I hate. Well, actually, I don't hate it. It's a great quote. Robin Scott, former One Nation MLC. It was about the euthanasia bill.
Right.
Not kids in Asia, but the actual voluntary assisted dying. And he was saying, it doesn't matter what the legislation is, you'll find one clever cookie that is going to abuse it. Yes. And reading from there was a video that they put out saying why it's so great and that and all the reasons behind it. And straight away, I thought the first thing that came to my mind was this is the ABC of the banking sector. Like we're going to have a massively so-called non-biased bank. Sure. We're going to have a massively labor-controlled bank that's under the funds that's being funded by the Australian government. And you like at the moment now we've got a labor, especially in WA, labor controls the lower house and the upper house. They can pass any legislation they want. Right. So if they turn around and go, you know what, all your money's mine,
they can do it.
There is absolutely nothing that we can stop that from happening.
I think we need to rewind just a little bit because most people don't understand that the monetary system is actually controlled by individual privatized banks, not government controlled entities. Reserve Bank of Australia is a privately owned bank as opposed to being a public.
Yeah, and that to me, I don't understand that. That's an interesting point because I didn't. I always assumed that the Reserve Bank was literally a government agency.
Yeah, so most people don't understand that. The other issue is, of course, then you've got that level of banking, and then you've got the retail banking, which is what most people are familiar with in terms of the 4 banks and that sort of stuff and how it filters down to them. So it's a credit-based system. I think the intent is really good. They want to change the banking system and all that. I think it's been this way for so long. And there's a bit of disruption that's happening in that industry, which I think is making a few bankers nervous because they don't like disruption. They don't like, they've got a great system going. And but I think the intent of this project and proposal is good. I think the model, though, I don't know that the train has arrived in the station. And I think what the difficulty is most people don't understand banking anyway. So to rally and go, oh, we want a citizens referendum on this, trying to explain it to the masses is very, very difficult. So it has to be simplified somehow.
Yeah. Well, the old saying, it's your safest money in the bank, is the greatest bit of bullshit ever said. I mean, let's face it. It's not safe in the bank. Simple as that.
If you have got your money in the bank and you're getting like 1%, but your inflation is 6%, like you're losing 5% of your money every year.
Not just that, the bank has power to freeze accounts and this sort of thing. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, the moment I read it, I had alarm bells going off in my head, in my guts. So I was just like, I'm not sure.
Can I throw an alternative
so many things that were abusable.
As someone who knows very little about this, right? But let me throw something forward. Okay, then wouldn't it be better as a proposal to maybe look at legislation that forces major banks to have use the Australia Post as an agency, so you could still do your banking like you can in a country town where you go through that way? Because a lot of places you go and use Westpac or Aussie
My
Post.
Understanding is you can already go into Australia Post to deposit, but because they're not an actual bank branch, so say you're applying for a loan or something like that, it's all the more the financial side of things.
God, they look at those as the agency. I remember going to a pharmacy and they had a little agency on the side. You could just do your basic ATM, glorified ATM.
Yeah,
that's transactions.
Like you can go down to Woolworths and get cash out. Like you don't actually need to go into a branch to get your cash out. You just go.
Yeah, but they only give you $50.
No, they're supposed to give you more. Like obviously, if you want to take $10,000 cash out, they're not going to do it because they do have that much sort of cash on hand.
Well, I think I've used this example before on the show, but I mean, I had a friend who bought a car, and the rigmarole of buying, because she's an older lady and she wanted to pay in cash because she had the money, so she knew what it was, and the car was effectively $20,000. It was a nightmare, absolute nightmare, trying to pay cash. And we tried to talk her out of it, and we had to get all paperwork from the bank. We had to get permission. It was crazy. They had to hold the car for 24 hours. So cash, you think cash, it's immediate and whatever.
No, not in the car yards.
No,
car yards hate cash with a passion.
Yeah, it was a nightmare, as I say, to hand over that $20,000. But hey, she's an older lady.
She used to work for AHG as a finance manager, so I was the person actually receipting the money, and we've turned customers away because we flat out said no, we're not accepting cash.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll accept.
You're not accepting cash for my pimped out black, 300.
No. Let's say you come in and you want to do $1,000 deposit. Yeah, no worries. We'll accept that sort of cash. If you come in and say, right, I've got $50,000 to buy, a brand new car, it's like, no, sorry, take the cash down to the bank, get it turned into a bank check, and bring it back.
And the flip side of this, which to me is a little bit disturbing because it's borrowed money effectively, is I have several times in my life purchased cars on my credit card. That's crazy.
Do you know the fees on that?
Hey, no. Back in those days when life was better for me, it meant I was paying literally 3.99%, and it was quick and it was easy and it was done.
Oh no, the transaction fee.
The
car yards get nailed.
Oh yeah, but that's not my problem. In the nicest possible way. So no, it was ridiculous that you can walk in with a card and effectively buy that car on credit. Everyone buys cars on credit, don't get me wrong, but on a plastic card, and it's instantaneous, and you've got the car and you take the car away straight away. But you walk in with cash, and they're like, whoa, no.
There's too much legislation.
The interesting thing about this too is you've got to think about what are the functions of a bank. So obviously you're getting cash in and out. That's been the traditional role. The second part is lending.
Yep.
The third part. Excuse me, international wires. You've got to think of that as well, and helping business transact as well.
Yeah. So
because obviously they've segmented those areas very, very much. And of course, then there's the investment portfolio of banks as well. They like to dabble in the markets. They like to do different various investments. So the money they do have on reserve and that sort of stuff does amplify. So can this model that is being proposed function and do those sort of things? That's what you've got to look in and dive in more. But there's also this. They may be able to do different services that disrupt, that do it better, basically. I don't mean to say disrupt. They do it better. I think disruption's got to come from various other sources, and it's basically how the governments interact with the banks.
Sure.
That's got to be relooked, because what we have is a system on the fiat system, which is a credit-based system. And I think that's really, there's a lot of talk going around at the moment about going back to gold-backed standard type transactions and dealings. And that would be a major disruption if that were to come about.
One of the things that I'd love to see a more trustworthy banking system, or a company that's more trustworthy. To me, the ABC of the finance industry just isn't it for me. this is a personal belief on this one.
I understand exactly what you're saying here.
I do most of my banking at the moment through credit unions.
Sure.
My wife used to work at the education department, so we've got a lot of teachers mutual accounts at the moment. They're by far better than what the big
So whatever
fours
happened
were.
to the old Teachers Credit Society? What happened to them? What did they
I
become?
think they call themselves the Teachers Mutual Bank now.
Okay,
So-
I thought they were bought out by another bank.
Possibly. So what's happened is there's Bendigo Bank is another one. United
Police and
Credit was
Nurses.
one. Police and Nurses another one. So there's all these other. I think too many people at the moment in Australia still bank with the big four.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to see change and reform, one or two people aren't really going to make that much of a difference. So everyone as a whole, as a collective, has to start turning around saying, like, if you don't like the big four banks, stop banking with them.
That's right.
Like, it's
That's
as simple as that. Like, it's. I don't think legislating it is the answer.
There is that, Travis, but the other flip side of that is convenience, right? The big four banks have provided more ATMs around the place. So if you want to go to get quick cash, it's just more convenient to go, oh, that one's over there.
Oh, try and find a Bendigo Bank one.
As
Yeah,
opposed
that's
to
the
trying to
problem.
find the lesser known ones. You've got to go out of your way to do that.
Well,
Or
then get-
pre-plan more.
I know some of the credit unions actually have deals with the big four banks that the customer does not cop a fee for using other ATMs.
Yeah, that's a good setup.
That's not an argument on this one. So
I get that.
there's nothing to say that you have to use the big four banks.
I get exactly what you're saying, but also to the point that Derek made, like I've got a friend who's got an account that literally they have an ATM card, but there's no ATMs in Western Australia, right? So you literally cannot get cash in Western Australia. You can only
Well,
get
you
transfer.
can because you have to go down to Woolworths and get cash out over the counter.
No,
or when
they're
you go
not
shopping.
affiliated. that
Okay,
way.
the other side-
the
the other
that's
side
how
of
it
that
works.
too is I used to do a lot of business trips, right? Knowing you go into a new town, you know where the ATMs are and that sort of stuff. You know, at least if you are with the big four, you're going to come across one eventually, right?
Yep.
Whereas with the more ones that
Niche. Yeah.
Again-
this is the problem. The niche ones are hard to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So again, with that, making sure you've got the bank account that allows you to use the big fours without a fees or transaction.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah, I'll take
that's again, that's a non-issue. So
But most people don't know that, Travis.
Yeah,
and that's the issue.
And this is where education is more important than actually changing legislation.
Do you know
If
what?
people are
We
more
should do
aware-
an education show here. Wouldn't that be a great idea?
Wow, why didn't we do that?
Hey, what are you doing on that? What date is it, folks?
22nd.
Let me scratch my head. 22nd. What are we doing, boys?
It is what is it called, Derek? I keep forgetting. There's so many words in the title.
You don't like that? How to find your life purpose, understanding techniques the wealthy use.
See, that works for me. Rolls off the tongue. His, not mine. But
Hey, it's the 4-word titles. Like, come on, 4-word titles for me.
It's
But,
I want a real how-to.
yeah,
I really want to know. I want to show the difference between what the wealthy are doing and what those who aren't.
education is the key.
Absolutely, there's some very big significant things that they do that most people don't or don't know that you can do.
Oh, look, like something we've been saying so much, over the last 2.5 years, through everything that's been going on, is knowledge is power. It can't be any more accurate than that. Let's face it. And having that education, having that knowledge can give you great power to live your best life and to chase those dreams that you want to chase, whether they be a luxury sports car or just laying on the beach with your feet up. Who cares?
So if you do want to attend and listen to Derek for an hour, just talking absolute pearls of wisdom, the Eventbrite will be up on the Edge Radio Facebook page.
Cool.
The website will actually get the little flippy thingy advertising thing changed
Sexy.
over to it. And so, yeah, please do book because tickets are not limited and all the proceeds raised will actually help to keep the lights on.
I've done this presentation to business owners as well, and they absolutely love it. So
Hang on. We haven't even talked about the price of the tickets. The cheapest chips, right? Literally.
It's $47.
$47. Come on, really?
Right.
If you're not willing to invest $47 in your future, then that's let's face it, that's a steak meal, right?
yeah, you're absolutely right. This is what one you've hit a perler there. Do you know what your values are? Do you know how
Beer.
to
Your gut like that is beer.
The question should be more, do you know how to identify someone else's values?
Oh, I like to think I can, but I think yeah.
Two
It's easy.
very
Food and
significant
beer.
things. Two things. What you spend your time on,
Yep.
and what you spend your money on.
Right.
They're an indication of what your values are.
And who you spend your time with.
Yeah.
That's why I avoid you at all costs. All right. With that, quick break.
There's some interesting stuff going on in Europe, and
Yep.
the seasons are changing. Over here on the west side, spring's happening.
The west
it's getting
side.
warmer. On the west side, I went to the
Throwing
country
gangs.
last week.
Did you eat a lot of peaches?
No,
Okay.
but the canola is out. It's
looks
all
beautiful.
Gold everywhere, green fields, and the dams are full. It's just absolutely gorgeous in the country
Serious.
right
You were in York area, right?
No.
I
I went down to the wheat belt.
Oh, right.
Tenning way.
Okay, there you go. When you said the canola, I just figured you were heading out that way, but there you go.
Well, that's the thing, like, especially with WA, if you're going out to, like, you can head any direction inland, and eventually you'll start getting to the canola fields.
Good point.
Yeah.
So,
And it's beautiful. Here's the thing, though. Europe is heading into, as the United States calls it fall, into autumn, right?
Autumn. Fall.
Oh, fall.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. I forgot.
What's happening is that it's getting colder.
Yeah.
And
winter over there is not like winter here.
No. Like minus 20 degrees Celsius in Helsinki and that sort of stuff. Although Helsinki's not quite affected by this, but it gets cold. And this is the thing. Germany is concerned about this because they're having an energy crisis. Since, of course, the sanctions have gone with Russia, they're cutting off the Nord Stream. So there's a big pipe that goes from Russia into Germany, providing natural gas for them to cook and heat their homes and all this sort of stuff. And Russia's turned the gas off and said, okay, fine, you're going to sanction us. Winter's coming.
Yep.
And of course, there is a lack of gas around. Of course, the price skyrockets and people are very concerned. It's gotten so bad to a point where I was reading that there are malls or shopping malls that are not operating the escalators.
You scared me there. I thought you said moles. I thought you were getting all. Would you even know who Kylie Mole is?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Does anyone? He wouldn't.
Look of blankness.
You would.
A lank of blankness.
She just goes.
Yeah, she just goes. She just goes.
I'm guessing she's got a mole.
Chewing gum.
No, mate.
No,
Yeah.
okay.
No.
Yeah.
We're going to educate you
I thought
later.
that was Cindy
Okay?
Lawford.
Classic Australian
Comedy, mate. Yes, comedy. Yeah, before it was illegal. Go on.
I made the mistake of turning on ABC the other day,
Oh.
and they had this comedian on it, and it was terrible. It's like, what the hell is this crap? So
Dude, stop it now. All right.
it was-
We're talking about cold, hard bitches. We're talking about cold, hard winters right now and energy in Europe. All right.
wow.
So, of course, scarcity means
Yes.
the price goes right up through the roof.
Supply and demand, baby.
So, what do they do? So, the German government has said, look, we cannot rely on Russia for a reliable source of natural gas right now.
Yep.
We're going to do all these subsidizing as to the tune of $65 billion.
Whoa.
Okay.
Just,
So,
just a little bit of money. Just
just a bit of coin. But to me, it's a band-aid fix because
Okay.
it's kind of like what the Australian government, as you've highlighted during the break, Travis, has done in terms of petrol prices. We're not going to tax it as heavily.
Yep.
We're going to give you a bit of a breathing space.
Sure.
So this just comes back down
But
to
it doesn't solve the issue of supply.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So-
Exactly right. You still need it stuff.
I'm done putting my political hat on here. So our glorious leader, Pauline Hanson for One Nation, has been screaming at the government for a long time that we need to have our 90 days of fuel reserves.
Yes.
At one point, we
Remember
were down to 21 days of diesel. So it's actually legislated that we have to have 90 days of fuel supplies
Mhm.
because, as we've seen in Germany at the moment, one war or one, argy-bargy between two countries, and they go, no, you're done.
And here's the crazy thing. Biden sold off the US petrol reserves to China.
Yeah, but okay, don't use Biden as an example. Because clearly,
The Biden.
he's a man with a sharp intellect. Okay, he's a very, he is ready to rock and roll. That
Now, I
man.
have to ask.
Oh, he's one of the great scholars of the 21st century.
knowing how bad he is.
Sorry, one of the great scholars of the 18th century. He's that freaking old. Never mind.
knowing how bad he is
Mm.
mentally, do you reckon he's joined his son with a crack pipe?
Oh, I don't know. I have an image of him. You know when Pelosi was like tasting the ice cream, right? Okay,
Yeah, she used to
I
be
could
a
literally see
oil
him.
girl.
What?
Pelosi, like that's not her real name. Her dad owned, I think it's Mobile Oil Company or something. So she used to like get up in her bikinis and used to take photos with all the car racers.
That's horrible.
Oh,
That
no,
is
it's
so
real.
horrible.
I found that out the other day. I was like, oh
Do
my
you know
god,
what?
that's crazy.
Do you know how shocked I am? I'm as shocked as she is constantly with that Botox face. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think she's found in 20 years. All right, but
What,
we
her
need to
eyebrows?
talk. She's got on Ronald McDonald eyebrows. Seriously, look like the Golden Arches. Anyway, so we need reserves, obviously, right? And we're supply and demand. And ultimately, it is a band-aid fix, to take the excise off. Absolutely, right? Excise is just a nice way of saying tax. Let's be very frank. But okay, you do need that band-aid fix for otherwise inflation goes through the roof and all that sort of thing. So I see exactly what you're saying. But ultimately, when the band-aid's ripped off, okay, I mean, all that hair's coming with it because the fact of the matter is they still need gas. They still need all these products. So
Absolutely.
That's-
You know,
Where's the
people
gas
are pushing this political agenda of climate change, climate change, climate change. They're not considering, first of all, the world is not ready to go to what they're proposing. They have, you know, what, 245,000 people got freeze to death this winter in Europe because they can't have these
Agenda
vehicles.
21, who cares? We want 95% of people to die, so it's okay. Just let them freeze.
Yeah.
Sarcasm, by the way, everyone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is a big concern. There's a very simple fix with all of this. Very simple fix.
Aliens? What?
America start producing oil again.
Yes,
right?
it is that simple.
Sell it to Germany,
Yep.
sell it to England.
Yeah.
They're big buyers, and winter's coming.
Mm-hmm.
They are, you know, you've got businesses in Germany right now who are stockpiling and trying to get their hands on this stuff so they can keep.
Now, you have just said that though, right? Now, the US could fix this problem. Well, we know that,
Yep.
okay? And there's other countries that could fix this problem. But fundamentally, we're talking about the big players here.
Yep.
Okay, they could fix this problem. But they are so caught up in this green agenda, okay, this rubbish that, I mean, currently right now in California, they are rationing. They're asking people not to charge their electric vehicles because the grid is not strong enough to take, you know, so they've pushed more than anyone to get rid of oil, okay, to get rid of fossil fuels, all going to carry on, right? They've pushed so hard, but the infrastructure can't take it. So people are literally stuck at home because they can't drive their, you know, $100,000 Teslas.
I watched a very, very interesting video yesterday, and I hate to say it, we're in the market to buy another car, and we were actually kind of tempted to look at a hybrid, not pure electric, but a hybrid like a Prius or something. We need something like stupid cheap on fuel. Morally, I just will not touch an electric vehicle. It was showing us how they get all the materials.
Oh, the lithium.
I think it's cobalt, or not the lithium, but another one that's inside the batteries and where they get it from.
Yep.
That shit is toxic as hell.
Child labor too.
Child
It's
labor.
simple as that.
What they're doing, and it used to be Tesla and another company, I think it was GM, used to use non-child slaves to mine it, and now what they do, they go through another company who then buys it through slave labor.
Yep.
So it's just like there's no way in hell I'm ever going to buy.
Let's talk really dollars and cents here and reality, right? This is the reality, and also if you're protecting the environment, and I love the environment. You know, I'm a tree guy, but here
is a shirt like that. You definitely are.
Thanks, man. The reality is this, though, right? For environmental impact, right? One of those ugly, vile Priuses, right, environmentally is equivalent to 4 Corollas of the same type. That's a fact, right?
And where they get the materials for it, they just big hole in the ground. Like,
that's right. That's right.
It's so bad for the environment. So
there are so many better alternatives out there, right? And you know what? Free enterprise will find those because, quite frankly, people want to make money, right? So it's forcing businesses to do this is not the way around it. You know, promoting innovation is the way to do it, right? And if you're going to push all of these people out, ultimately, until there's a better alternative, you know, fossil fuels is the go. Right?
Not just that, but if the United States started selling oil and producing oil again, it reduces inflation.
Yes, exactly
It would solve
right.
its own
I'm
problems
just going to
by
jump in
doing
here
so.
because we've had our good friend Peter jump onto the stream.
G'day, Pete.
Great show. Awesome. Love it, Pete.
It is Edge Radio Australia, and we are doing The Greater Wealth. That's the name of this show, and we're talking about ways basically to find your little freedom in life to do your life purpose. Now, gentlemen, hit me. Oh, dear.
So you got to remember, Australia was effectively built on the farming industry.
Absolutely.
Back of the sheep back, isn't it?
Literally off the back of a sheep. They used to shave the sheep and then they'd put it into big bales and send it all around the world. And that's when we still manufactured things. It was awesome. And everyone had jobs and the life was great and no one had food though. No. So what's happened is over the last pretty much most of my lifetime, so 39, I'm still a young chicken, I've gradually seen more and more things stop being produced in Australia and sent to overseas. A lot of the farms, rather than being like little small farms, they've been joined into big, massive farms.
Sure.
And so at the moment, especially with the skill shortage, lack of labor, most farmers, and I'm talking from mum's personal experience here, is you've got to pay people seasonally to do a lot of work.
Of course you do.
And the problem is they used to have a program in Australia where to get a visa to stay in Australia, you had to work regionally for like 6 to 12 months. I can't remember
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So what was happening is a lot of people, especially from Korea, Koreans loved this. They thought it was amazing. A lot of Chinese people and a lot of Japanese people did this as well.
Okay.
So they used to come over during harvest seasons or any time that the seasonal work was up for available. Because if you're just in there cleaning up a farm or mending fences, stuff like that, like you don't exactly need engineers for that sort of stuff. So a lot of the tourists, especially from Southeast Asia used to come to Australia and do a working holiday.
Sure.
So first of all, as a wolf, they used to call it the wolf or wolf's program.
Okay.
So you didn't pay for your board.
Yep.
You didn't pay for your food. You did 2 or 3 days worth of work, and then you were able to travel through the regional WA as much as you want. So it wasn't allowed to be done actually in the metro area. It had to be in the regional area. So Mum's farm was down in Denmark. So that's about 5 hours from Perth.
I thought it was in Europe.
It just worked amazingly. So got the fences fixed, the farm was well maintained, and it just worked really, really well. And the thing that's really important about that is all these people, even though they're working in Australia, they were bringing a lot of currency with them. They were bringing a lot of money into this state with them. And then under the genius of Mark McGowan, they decided to stop it.
Well, you've said the genius
we have a skill
name.
shortage in the farming industry. So things like that are really, really important to bring back. Now, what has happened last week, we had the Jobs Summit. So instead of doing
the Jobs Junket, I believe, actually, but there you go.
So one of the things that came out of the Job Summit was a lot of talk, a lot of dribble. I'm just looking at one of the photos here. There was about 150 people giving their feedback. And from what I've been told, about 25% of those 150 people were all union representatives who are massively pro-Labor supporters. So again, you got to remember this thing was practically totally funded.
Not Labor supporters, Labor fund. The Labor funded. And vice versa. Yeah.
So most of this was actually funded by and paid for by Australian taxpayers.
Sure.
So huge expense, especially for the amount of people in there.
Free lunch.
But by the sounds of it, actually multiple free lunches and dinners because it was over a couple of days. And so far, I think the only conclusion they've come to is that they need more discussions.
Yeah, well, that's important. Okay, so is that the old, like, I've got a mug at home, okay?
Yes.
Is that, are we in another meeting that could have been an email, right? Like, honestly.
I don't want to get my brother into trouble for this one. He sent me a picture. And
I think you should stop now, but okay.
You know when you're like running races at school and you get a place and you get a little ribbon as the first place? He had a whole heap of these little ribbons that said, "Congratulations, this meeting could have been an email."
Beautiful.
And so apparently, I won't say the company he works for. So they had one of these meetings. So he quickly raced to the back door, and as everyone was leaving, he was handing out these ribbons to everyone. So I thought it was quite.
Oh, look, they're very good at having meetings, right? And look, junkets, right? Junkets, as simple as that, right? They feed up on top quality food and alcohol, and away you go, and all that sort of thing. Everyone pats themselves on the back, and nothing gets achieved.
And if you elbow, you go get a massage afterwards.
That's right.
3 easy fixes.
Don't have the meeting.
What was working beforehand, right? Pre-COVID.
Yes.
It's really staring you in the face.
Oh.
I hate to state the obvious. Lift the mandates off vaccines.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Make it wrong to discriminate to someone who has been vaccinated and not vaccinated, right? Because a lot of companies are doing internal rulings now saying you can or can't. Lift that discrimination.
A lot of mining companies, especially in the Pilbara, are doing that.
Yep.
Okay.
Lift that, right? So then you got what? How much of the workforce back at work, right? Easy. Third, make Australia more attractive to get overseas people working here.
Yep. Absolutely.
We aren't the most attractive anymore. We've made it really, really hard.
We have. I mean, we used to be a backpacker's dream, let's face it. Yeah. And that looked after our farming sector big time.
So again, it's going back to bringing people into Australia who want to do the working holiday thing.
Sure.
Because it's just so hard. And most of the jobs that are severely lacking aren't highly qualified jobs. They're the general shit kicker labor sort of jobs. And
nothing wrong with bloody hard
lacking.
work, mate. Absolutely.
It's hard work, but it's not skilled work.
No.
So we definitely want the skilled migrants coming in, but why should we? Because the big push at the moment is what they're talking about is lifting the cap on immigration, so all the dregs of society can come over and be shit kickers.
Okay.
My first concern is especially, so let's look at the New Zealand situation here. So in Australia, on your migration visas, if you get convicted of a violent offence, you get deported immediately.
Okay.
So the Australian Appeals Tribunal when Dutton was the immigration minister, in 1 year he sent over 2,000 people back to New Zealand. Something like 90% of them all got overturned by the Australian Appeals Tribunal. Wow. And then New Zealand cracked the shits out of us for sending back their criminals.
Yeah. You know what? Keep your rubbish, right? As simple as that.
So I think I think we still need to have a strict migration policy on who comes to the country. We want to make it focus on who's going to bring benefit to Australia. And the people who are like running from the law and stuff like that and have a criminal history the length of your arm.
Sure.
Sorry, you can stay home.
Yep.
So
yep.
I think we need to be
But
very
I think-
choosy, but we still.
Well,
need to
I
make
agree,
it
but I think
easier.
a lot of this COVID stuff has really crept into so many different aspects, right? Where and you know, it's a case of they say, "Oh, mandates are lifted," and that kind of thing, but they've changed the rules on so many things here. Now, I actually had to, I won't go into what it was, but I had to do something on the weekend. I had to do some paperwork, right, for something that's got nothing.
You can write.
I can write. Yes, I typed with both fingers. Anyway, typed away. And what I'm going to get at here was a simple thing that I've done for 30 years, something I've been involved with. Now, this particular organization want to know everything about me, my medical history, all that sort of thing. They're
You're
breaking.
Screwed.
It's damn rude, right? Breaking.
No, not rude. Screwed.
Screwed.
Because I know what you're talking about. There's no way, knowing your medical history, there's no way in hell they don't let you in.
Anyway, well, something I used to do 30 years ago, and I used to do for a while, a long time, and you know, used to do for a living back in the day. Yes, okay, competition license, right? Racing cars, right? Now they want to know my medical history to a degree. Now I've had medicals, I'm not going to carry on and pass them all, so that was a while ago. But now how intrusive it is was disgusting. It was next level, right? And this was all these COVID questions, and they were literally breaching the 1988 privacy laws, right? That were put there to stop discrimination.
Oh, I love this one.
So, but what I'm getting at is from a financial term. I'm not trying to take it to social terms, but okay.
Privacy laws don't mean shit in WA.
Yeah, well, okay. But this is a national organisation, right?
Doesn't matter. You're in WA.
No. Federal always overrides state, mate.
Always.
Yes, it does.
We've just found that out. So I'll explain it in a minute. But you keep going.
Okay. My point is, when it comes to we're talking about money here. We're talking about finances, all sort of thing. Now, the problem is where I'm going on this is like the most fundamental thing about so many parts of our lives, and then the power of our own freedom. You go for a job now, okay, and they want everything. You know, it's a massive intrusion into your life.
Government's just too involved.
Yeah,
we need to get
it's got to stop.
The simple thing is, like, especially with the skilled workers coming into Australia, whether it's shit kickers on a farm, laborers, accountants for financial companies, things like that, it's getting to the point where it's too hard to actually get workers. There's too much government interference. What's superannuation now up to, like 12% or something? I know where the one that's my wife works, it was nearly pushing 13.5%.
Right.
So that's just another tax on top of everything else that the government, that the employer has to pay to everyone else.
Payroll tax is the most ridiculous.
Oh,
thing.
it really
tax,
is. Absolutely.
Punishing people for providing employment and keeping them off welfare.
Yeah.
Really smart.
Yep.
So, and yet when we try to abolish payroll tax in WA, the government fought tooth and nail to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, of course they do.
Like, instead of being able to totally
And
abolish
look,
it,
I think to wind this all around, I mean, I think this is fundamentally what this show is all about. This is about trying to give people that financial freedom, right? Okay, to look at money in a different way and look at your life purpose in a different way. And
segue to the live event.
Thank you very much, right? It's to create that freedom, right? Because ultimately, I don't know about you guys out there in the world, but I'll tell you right now, freedom is absolutely fundamental to who I am, okay? And when people tell me what to do, it makes me push back.
Now,
so having an event like this, which will give me the education, okay, it's not advice, it's education to teach me how to invest properly, how to, to basically make my money work for me. This is a great thing, mate. I'm I'm bloody excited about it. Okay. And understand, okay, I'm the guy who didn't line up at school. Okay. I don't like education. It's not my thing. Very boring for me. I'm looking forward to educate me. Okay.
Yep. I'm looking forward to having it. It's on Thursday, the 22nd of September. So that's not far away. And we'll be holding that at 6 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time. So basically the time that most people are off work, hopefully. It's called.
We'll have our app by then. So people, if they are stuck in traffic, they can hit the button and listen live.
Well, it's on a Zoom. This one's going to be a Zoom meeting.
Yes.
So how to fund your life purpose, understanding techniques the wealthy use. I love how to. I'm very pragmatic. So what is it that I can pragmatically do? Theory is one thing. How can I put it in practice?
Yeah.
What are some of
theory is great, but if you can't put it into practice, it's meaningless, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who do this education stuff and it never put into action. And that's a problem. But as you learn more, hey?
Great photo, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're going to be doing that, and that's going to be really, really great. And it's only $47 for a ticket.
Cheap as chips, right?
That's not even a carton of like Jack Daniels and Coke. I think they're $90-something now.
You could afford to come twice for a carton of Jack's and Coke. There you go. Yeah. You could put it on replay for that. That's great. Watch it twice on 2 monitors. Look at this. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. I would just say a carton of beer, mate, but okay, fine. You know, you drink.
I don't drink beer, so.
Jeez.
No, like, I don't enjoy throwing up.
Okay, really? Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so
It's 9 bottles of terrible wine. There you go, done. Now,
just going back to what we were saying before about the privacy as well.
Yeah.
So when Luana was working at the education department,
sure.
they started asking all those questions beforehand, and we said, no, we're not giving it to you.
Good
Privacy laws, like you are actually, it's the third part of the Privacy Act.
Yep.
You're not allowed to ask it.
Yeah.
And so we actually took it through to the Privacy Commission, and they said, oh no, WA, anything to do with the government, the WA government is exempt from all federal privacy laws.
No, absolutely not true.
Yes.
I know, but I know what you're saying.
Directly from the commissioner.
Yeah, who is actually breaking the law? That is the problem.
Well,
that problem is right here in Western Australia. Good old wait a while, right? They seem to wait a while to actually follow the laws of this country. It's just happened in the family court. Let's face all the changes there. Nothing's happened here.
Apparently,
that is the problem. No, I'm just going to talk over you for a second. The reality is this: in Western Australia, a fundamental problem we have about this wonderful state. And I love WA, right? A mate of mine who used to be on my rally team back in the days used to have an awesome T-shirt. It said, "There are 2 states to be in, WA and pissed," right? And I completely identify with that, right? Okay, beautiful.
Yes, Aaron is an alco. No, that's not true.
It's
that's
a joke.
True.
Okay, but my point is, I love WA. But one of the horrible things about WA is the fact that we literally do run ourselves like a separate country to the rest of Australia.
We're like 2 hours behind everyone else.
No. We are 22 hours ahead as far as I'm concerned. Let's work it that way. That's the way I'm working it. All right. Okay. It's perspective, mate. It's the way you look at it. Okay.
Well, we are upside down here.
No, exactly. So, anyway, what you're saying is, quite frankly, our tribunal just, quite frankly, ignoring the laws. And we've seen so much of that in WA.
I have checked it, and it's because the original 1901 Australian Constitution, WA wasn't a signatory of it.
Right.
Yeah, so it goes all the way back there. So New Zealand is, but not WA.
Of course.
So, yeah.
There you go.
So.
All right, now I'm going to look at the old clock here.
Yeah, it's time to wrap up.
Yes,
so
I've just noticed.
Final words from Derek.
Very quick, mate.
Can you give us a pearl of wisdom of what might be covered on the 22nd?
Wow. All right. We talked about postal banking.
Yep.
The model there. We talked about gas shortages in Germany.
Yep.
And the final one, what did we talk about? Job shortages and all this sort of stuff.
Yep.
It says to me, one, get educated and start
Protect yourself.
Protect yourself, but also, get into that mode of, a lot of people are spouting the word sovereignty at the moment. Get to that point where you're not reliant on an employer for work, for determining the way you go. You're able to generate your own wealth income is a really, really good place to be in. Now, it can be hard in the first few years in starting a business. I've been there. I've done it. It's tough. And it's a constant challenge in being in business.
Of course,
boy, the freedom it gives you, I just love it. The fact that I can do that and come away and do shows like this and this sort of stuff, because I'm not having to ask my boss for permission to go away and do this sort of stuff. It's fantastic.
It's great being your own boss.
It really is. Now, I won't ask for any wisdom from you because let's face it, it's not really a possible thing.
It's a bit shocking when it does come, though.
Yeah, so I know. I'm still in shock. I might need therapy for that one. I want to thank you guys for being part of the show today, and I really enjoyed it and got a lot of great information. And I'm really looking forward to the 22nd, right?
22nd.
22nd.
What I'm really looking forward to is heading up to 60/30 to get a feed.
Hey, guess what tonight is, mate?
Isn't it curry night?
It's curry night. It's curry night.